A todos, muchísimas gracias por acompañarnos. Yo soy Sofía Rodríguez y soy la persona encargada de relaciones institucionales aquí en FUNED. Ludovica, thank you so much for being here with us. We're very excited that we are here with the School of Advanced International Studies at Johns Hopkins. This is one of the most well-known schools for training future global leaders in international affairs. And of course, it has the Johns Hopkins brands, which means excellence. So we're thrilled to have you with us, and we're thrilled that you are one of FUNED's partners, and looking forward to what you have to share with us on what students might find at the SAIS and of course at Johns Hopkins. Thank you so much for your time. You should know that we've been having a lot of rain these past few days in Mexico, so maybe mobility is complicated for some people that wanted to show. For those of you who know anyone who wanted to be here and couldn't, let them know that we're recording this session and they can find it on our YouTube tomorrow or at the latest on Thursday, so they can find out everything they need to know. Anyone who has any questions, we can open the microphones at the end of the session, or you can pop them in the chat box if you don't want to forget them, and we can read them in the end of the session. So Ludovica, thank you so much for your time and for your presentation, and we're looking forward to hearing everything you have to share with us.
Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you all so I can share some slides with you. Thank you so much for having us, having me here to represent SAIS. I'm an assistant director of admissions here at SAIS. And while I mostly focus on our mid-career and doctoral programs, today I'm going to talk a little bit about SAIS generally, what makes SAIS special, what students can expect to get from SAIS, and then I'm going to have a special section on financial aid and scholarships and all of that information on financing your education at SAIS. So at SAIS, our motto is know the world to change the world, and it's also to study with purpose. So the mission of SAIS, we're a graduate division of Johns Hopkins University. So we provide certificates and graduate degrees in the field of international studies. And we're really dedicated on giving students not just the theoretical tools to achieving a career in international affairs, but also equipping them with tools and networks and practical skills so that they can really succeed and make a tangible difference on the world in international relations. So our legacy here at SAIS is academic excellence rooted in the pursuit of combining intellectual rigor with policy relevance. So students in SAIS classes are going to be learning from professors who are leaders in their field, not just on a scholarly basis, but also on a policy basis. Some of our professors are more traditional tenure track faculty, whereas many of our professors are adjunct faculty and they're practitioners working in the field. So whether that means that they're at very high levels of government or have had illustrious careers in government, we have many professors of practice. So those who have had very long careers spanning decades. For example, we have a former ambassador, Elaine White, who's one of our professors focusing on diplomacy. So students are really going to learn a lot. Courses are very intensive at SAIS, and they're also relevant and constantly being updated to provide students with the most relevant information. And here we have a picture of a former U.S. Ambassador to China, Nicholas Burns, speaking to a class at the Hopkins Nanjing Center. He is a Hopkins Nanjing Center alum and was ambassador from 2021 to 2025. So SAIS was founded towards the end of the Second World War. Here we have a quote from former U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who was also a distinguished scholar with SAIS. Antony Blinken came to speak with SAIS students a year and a half ago, I believe, and it was part of something that SAIS does to promote learning from experts, not just in the classroom, but outside of it through our Dean Speaker Series, which is where our Dean invites leaders in the field to come speak with him at SAIS and meet with our students. And it's a pretty excellent way for students to go beyond the classroom. One other great thing about SAIS is not only are you studying global issues, but we also have a global presence. So our biggest campus, I guess I could say, is here in Washington, D.C., where we have also been getting a lot of rain. And it's just down the street from the U.S. Capitol, short metro stops away from major think tanks, International Monetary Fund, World Bank. It's really in the center of all that's happening in international politics in the US. And we also have two other campuses. One campus is our SAIS Europe campus in Bologna, Italy. It is the home of the Bologna Institute for Policy Research and has the proximity to the EU institutions, as well as proximity to the Middle East and North Africa for students who want to focus in that field. We also have a campus on the Hopkins Nanjing Center, which is held in Nanjing University. In the past, you did need to have Mandarin proficiency to study at the Hopkins Nanjing Center, but starting in 2026, we will also have an option to study there if you don't have Mandarin proficiency, but still want to have that experience in China. Our students can either pursue degrees that are fully on one campus or combine residency in the different campuses. It just depends on what they are looking for and which program is best suited for them. Our SAIS community is constantly tackling global challenges. Our students go on to study they study international affairs, but they go on to do careers in a variety of industries, and they study a lot of different things at SAIS. So as you can see, we have a lot of different degrees. I can't go into all of them today because there's just too much to cover, but I will say that our most popular program is our Master of Arts of International Relations. This is what we call our flagship program, and it's got the most of our student body. And the first year of this program can be done, you can do the whole program in DC, or you can do your first year at the Hopkins Nanjing Center in China or at our SAIS Europe campus. So it is going to give you the most comprehensive graduate level coursework in international relations. Our students do have some required courses that prepare them for their careers, but they also choose a functional focus area. They might want to focus in technology or international economics or environment. And then they choose a regional focus area, which we have several to choose from. And they also have to show proficiency in a language other than their native language. Now, for students who might be coming from Mexico, English might not be their first language, so they could test out of that requirement, but students can still take language courses if they wish, whether they want to brush up on another language that they speak or to gain some proficiency in a new language. Now we have various programs that are also only on certain campuses, like the Master of Arts of European Public Policy is on our SAIS Europe campus, or our Master of Arts in International Studies is on our Hopkins Nanjing Center campus and includes a thesis written in Mandarin. So it's really up to the student to find the best program that works for them. The only note I'll make, because we do get a lot of questions about this, is about our PhD program. Right now, our PhD program admissions are paused because the program is undergoing a bit of a restructuring. But other than that, in addition to this session I'm doing tonight, we do have information sessions over the summer and over the fall, sometimes targeting specific programs. So all of that information is on our website if that's something that you want to dive more into. So another thing that's really important to SAIS, other than, taking advantage of our various campuses, is the experiential learning component. It's part of our policy relevance and practical skills. ideals. So our students have various opportunities to travel as part of their degree. So sometimes students will do a capstone project, which includes travel to a different country. We have study treks and staff rides. And some programs have it built into their programming, such as our Master of Arts of Global Policy, which is a mid-career program for working professionals. It does include a 1 week international trip towards the end of the program. So these are different ways that our students can apply what they're learning in the classroom outside of the classroom and also in different countries. So this year I talked to a few students who went to South Korea, who went to Morocco and Spain, who went to Colombia. And these these treks and capstone trips are very intensive. They're very intentional. You'll be meeting with a lot of really important people, working really hard, but it's extremely rewarding travel. And here's a photo of some of our Hopkins Nanjing Center students hiking in the Huangshan mountain range. So being that Johns Hopkins SAIS is an American university, something that's kind of a hallmark, I would say, of American universities are our student organizations. Student life is really important at a lot of American universities, and it's definitely very important at SAIS. We have so many student organizations that they're not all able to fit on this PowerPoint, and new ones are constantly being created by students based on their interests and their goals of connecting with other students. So some of our student organizations are career-focused clubs like Careers in Diplomacy or Global Women in Leadership. Some are regional interest clubs, including the Latin American Studies Club, and are a way for students who all have an interest in a region, or if they even come from that region, to come together and just connect with each other and network. We also have special interest clubs like our Black Student Union, SAIS Pride, and more. So student organizations are really important to a student's experience in graduate school because, for one, you're networking with your fellow classmates in whether it's qualities that you share, or region that you come from or are interested in, or specific careers. But these student organizations are also a chance to show your leadership abilities. Students can put, if they become president of a student club on their resume, they can bring in really important speakers and plan really cool events. For example, our Europe and Eurasia Club often visits different embassies in DC within the Europe and Eurasia region and bring speakers onto campus that focus on that region. In addition to networking with current students, we also have various ways that our students can network with SAIS graduates. So now this number has gone up because we just had a bunch of students graduate this May. But as of now, we have more than 23,000 SAIS graduates all around the world. And when I say all around the world, we are an international studies school, so they truly are all around the world. And I have to say that our SAIS graduates are extremely friendly and supportive. Like when they leave SAIS, they're always trying to help current and recent SAIS graduates move forward in their careers as well. So for example, I kind of say also in DC that you can't really walk more than 500 feet and you might run into a SAIS alum. And I remember a specific story from one of our Mongolian students who said that whenever he was admitted to SAIS, he got in contact with the SAIS alumni network in his country, and they threw a congratulations dinner for him. I've also heard of students connecting with SAIS alumni networks when they're doing an internship abroad and finding community there. So I really appreciate the SAIS graduate network. And like Sophia mentioned earlier, you're not just a SAIS grad, you're also a Johns Hopkins University alum. And we have more than 220,000 Johns Hopkins University alumni around the world. There are different opportunities for students to interact with other Johns Hopkins University students and faculty and staff. And there's a lot of opportunities for students to even take classes across campus. So it's a great way to expand your network, not just focus in international relations, but there's interactions on the field of technology and international affairs. For example, we have our Emerging Technologies Initiative at SAIS, which is pretty new. It just started about a year ago. And they do collaborative work with the Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Lab, which does a lot of work on national and international security, the Whiting School of Engineering, and so on. SAIS graduates are also sought after by more than 200 employers around the world. This is just a little graphic of some of the different employers that our students end up at. But what we really try to highlight is just how portable a SAIS degree is. Students might go into very typical careers in international relations like the IMF or the African Development Bank, but they can also go on to work in journalism or medicine or all sorts of different things. So we really do like to highlight that. Our students end up in private sector, public sector, nonprofit sector, and the multilateral sector. The proportion of students that end up in each type of sector depends on the program, depends on the year. As you may have heard, this year is not the best year for public sector work, but private sector work is boosting a lot. And so those employment statistics are available on our website, on our Global Careers webpage, if you're curious what the students go on to do that have just graduated from the program that you might be interested in doing. Some interesting things is that we have alumni who work at Snapchat, for example. One of our alumni founded Warby Parker, which is where I got my glasses. So you really can do so much with a graduate degree in international relations because everything at this point has an international lens. So now I want to talk a bit about financing your education at SAIS. This is kind of the meat of the presentation, I guess. And then I'm going to leave some time at the end for questions. I know it's also late for you all, so I won't take too long, but I do want to highlight a few different things. So school in the United States is expensive, but there's a lot of different ways that you can finance your education and still take advantage of an American education, but that works for you. So at SAIS, we have a lot of institutional scholarships. These come from general funds as well as ones from special donors and named scholarships. But a lot of times that's really not enough. In addition to the tuition of attending a school like SAIS, you also have to consider the living expenses. Now, for example, living expenses in Nanjing, China are going to vary compared to those in Bologna, Italy, compared to those in Washington, D.C. But we always recommend students look at outside funding options, whether it's something like FUNED or private funding organizations, loans, whether government loans or private loans, government scholarships were applicable or employer scholarships. Sometimes an employer may be willing to kick in a little bit of money, but all of that can add up. We also get a lot of students from other countries that are joining us through Fulbright. Again, Fulbright is not going to pay the full amount, but it can add to your portfolio, I guess, of financing options. And then finally, a lot of our international students do on-campus work. Now, it's a little bit complicated working in the US as an international student, but something that international students are allowed to do is to work up to 20 hours per week on campus. This is if you are coming to the US. And our students make a pretty competitive wage. It is capped at 20 hours just due to student visa requirements. But a lot of our students do that whether they work somewhere like admissions as an admissions fellow, or for our Office of Global Careers, or as a research or teaching assistant for a professor. So now I'm going to go through some of our various scholarships that I think would be really helpful for you all to know about. So one is our Public Service Fellows and Scholars Program. It is one of our most generous scholarships at SAIS. It's also very competitive. The eligibility for this scholarship is you need to show a proven leadership, academic aptitude, and dedication to public service. And you can show this through demonstrated experience, prior academic coursework, and we also consider financial need in making these determinations. This program, to apply for it, you do have to submit a supplemental essay, depending which program you apply for in conjunction with this. So the essay prompt changes slightly, but we look at your essay prompt, we look at your resume, your coursework, we look at the whole individual while they are applying. You also have to maintain a 3.4 GPA while at SAIS if you are doing our 2-year MAIR program, and then you will get the same scholarship the following year. Now, the amount varies depending on the program. For our 2-year Master of Arts of International Relations, it's 100% of tuition. Our Master of International Public Policy, which is our mid-career program, is a 50% tuition discount. So for both programs, these are the highest amounts that you can get for that program. But there's so much more than just the scholarship money, which of course is wonderful. But we do a lot of programming for these students, and you can leverage your participation in the scholarship program when applying for jobs. So for example, we do embassy visits. This semester, I took some students to the Embassy of Austria in DC, and they got to do a round table with diplomats there, and then a reception. We also do fun social activities, like this picture here is from when we went on a hike to Great Falls, which was a great bonding experience for our students, and was especially great for some of our international students who got to see a little bit more outside of just DC. This is also only available at our DC campus. So if you are interested in our SAIS Europe campus or our Hopkins and Jinx Center, they have their own scholarships, but because this program involves programming, chats, fireside chats with professors, etc., it is housed at our DC campus. A couple other scholarships here at our DC campus that I would like to highlight are our Technology and International Affairs Scholarship with our MAIR program. This provides need-based financial support for students with an interest in the intersection of technology and international affairs. So you don't have to write a supplemental essay for this one. The need will be considered, and it covers partial to full tuition. This is kind of to amplify our technology and international affairs focus area within the MAIR program. SAIS is really committed to being at the forefront of tech and international affairs. Like I mentioned earlier, we have the Emerging Technologies Institute. We are constantly adding more coursework on tech and AI and international affairs. So this is a way for us to boost some of our student involvement in that area. So they'll also consider your background in technology. So for example, I get a lot of questions from students who say, I didn't study international affairs in undergrad. Maybe they studied engineering or a hard science or mathematics, and they think, okay, this precludes me from studying international affairs. It doesn't. It's all about how you market your application. And you can have a focus on technology and international affairs. And if you do, this would be a great scholarship for you to consider. We also have a global scholarship for the same program. The global scholarship is for international students who demonstrate strong academic and personal achievement. And this program scholarship also has partial to full tuition. For our Master of Arts of Global Policy, which is one of our mid-career programs, some 50% scholarships to exceptional candidates are set aside. We also have many other scholarships depending on programs. And we have a webpage on our website that just focuses on scholarships divided by program. So if you would like to have more information on that, please check out our website. So a little bit more info on scholarships. This is really, really important. If you don't put that you want to be considered for financial aid on your application, it is a question on the application form. If you don't click yes, you will not be considered for scholarships. So it's really important that you click yes. There will also be another question that asks, do you want to be considered for the public service fellowship? If you're applying to the MAR program, make sure that you're reading that whole section very carefully. You also have to fill out the application for financial assistance, which asks you various questions such as, have you already taken out student loans, what your savings are, how much you would need to attend SICE. And we get questions about that as well. How should I answer that question? And our recommendation is just to be honest. Some scholarships, like the public service scholarship, do require a supplemental essay. So please make sure to read instructions carefully when you apply. So for those students who are in a program that lasts more than a year, there is the opportunity for scholarship renewal. So first year scholarships are guaranteed for the second year where applicable, as long as the student maintains the GPA and enrollment requirements, unless there's other requirements on top of that. Students who don't get aid in their first year at SICE can reapply for general fund scholarships the second year. It's not guaranteed, but it is an option. And even though I represent our Hopkins, our SICE DC campus, I also want to chat a little bit about our other campuses because they also have generous resources for students. So our Hopkins Nanjing Center, all students who apply to that campus before November 1 or February 1 application deadlines and are admitted will receive a scholarship. These are awarded based on merit and need, and I will say they are quite generous. I also will say that the Hopkins Nanjing Center tuition, just because of where it's located, etc., it's much lower than our DC or SICE Europe campus. And a great thing about the Hopkins Nanjing Center is that the cost of living is also much cheaper there. So you would save a lot of money if you did your first year there. Our SICE Europe financial aid, they require proof of income. You have to do an additional, fill out an additional questionnaire for SICE Europe. On average, over 70% of the entering class receives financial aid, and most are merit-based. They also have on their website an additional SICE donor institution scholarship list for special groups that you might want to check out and see if you qualify for any of those scholarships. So that is the majority of my presentation. I can now open it up to some questions if you have them, and I'm happy to answer what I can.
Thank you so much, Ludovica. Sus preguntas las pueden hacer en español y yo traduzco, o las pueden poner en el chat o abrir sus micrófonos. ¿Alguien tiene alguna pregunta?
And I am just sharing in the chat our admissions email and a link to our website in case that will be helpful.
Maybe while someone comes up with a question, I wanted to ask maybe if you can share what it's like to live in Washington, especially where the school is, and what our living. Alejandro has a question. Maybe after him you can answer mine. Alejandro, si quieres, abre tu micrófono.
Yes, can you hear me well?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, well, I have a little question related with nowadays in the United States. So how is the I don't know how to say it. Well, all the environment for the international student as the problem that Trump has with the all international students.
Yeah, I will say it's very different from what we've experienced in the past. Just from the SICE perspective, we are still having international students getting visa appointments, getting visas. So far, we haven't seen anything too out of the ordinary. Now, we'll see what happens come August, but we'll have a better idea later in the summer of seeing how this all shakes out. I will say that Hopkins has an Office of International Services that is very well staffed, and they are, since all of these changes have been happening, they've been doing a lot of webinars, they do one-on-one appointments. They've created a whole new webpage for students that have questions about all of these different changes. And we also have our Office of General Counsel who's reviewing all of these new executive orders and changes as they come out, and seeing how best we can help students.
Okay, so if we want to get in touch with this international group, how can we connect with them?
Yes, so I'm not sure if they meet with prospective students, but I will share their webpage because they do have a lot of really useful information for international students. I'm just going to share this in the chat. They also do webinars. I'm not sure if they are open to anyone, but they have a specific webpage called Recent Federal Immigration Actions, which could be helpful as well.
Okay, thank you for your time.
No problem.
Gracias. Yvonne?
When applying for a scholarship, when you're filling the application, do you have like a specific part when you specify the scholarship you want to apply to, or is a general application?
So it depends. There is a general application. So all of our SICE students who select yes to wanting to be considered for financial aid do get considered for financial aid, whether it's for general funds or a named scholarship. There may be additional questions like, do you want to be considered for the Technology and International Affairs Scholarship? And you'd have to check yes. Or the Public Service Scholarship. That one, once you check yes, another supporting document will be required for you to submit, which is the essay. And if you don't upload that attachment, then you won't be able to submit your application. So it just depends on the scholarship, but you will be considered for general funds no matter what, as long as you select yes.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Sophia, should I answer your question about living in DC?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. I like answering this question because I
Yeah.
love living in DC. I'm Italian, so I used to live in Rome, but my most recent place I lived in the US before DC was Texas. And DC, I would say, is a big improvement for me compared to Texas. So something that I love about DC is all of these embassies that are in DC are doing programming all the time. So whether it's for fun or for networking purposes, so much networking that goes on in DC, a ton of conferences. Some of them are held at our SICE campus. We have this really big, beautiful campus, right, like I said, down the street from the Capitol, and it's used a lot for conferences. But there's conferences going on in DC all the time. The World Bank annual meetings go on. And it's also opens up a lot of opportunities for internships, just because a lot of the international relations community in the US is in DC. Other than that, I love that there's free museums. So there's a lot of ways that students can take advantage of the city and enjoy the city without spending too much money. So yeah, I really enjoy it. I also just love how international DC is. I think makes it so different from other cities in the US where I walk down the street and I hear a lot of different languages being spoken. It's very comforting for me. So that's what I like about DC.
Yeah, and also
And
it has a
yeah.
very big wow factor, right? And then, but it also has very nice neighborhoods like Georgetown where you can just walk around and grab some coffee and feel more, you don't feel like you're in the middle of all the monuments. So yeah, if anyone hasn't been to DC, it's a great city. I've never lived there, but it's spectacular.
Yeah.
There's a question in the chat. Gala, do you know what percentage of applicants obtain full financial aid?
Yeah, so I don't have a specific percentage because it's also going to change year to year and program to program. I will say it's pretty rare to get full financial aid, but pretty much all students get at least some financial aid. Full financial aid is available for a small selection of our tech and international affairs scholars, some other programs like our public service scholarship. But to be transparent, it's rare to get full financial aid, which is why we recommend that you take some from a variety of sources.
That said, in Mexico, El CECITI is also sponsoring more students this year. I'm hoping that next year is going to be the same. And the masters that are taught at SAIS are certainly in the mix. So you can also look at those applications, and you can combine also FUNED with FIDER, Fulbright, and whatever you need. So it's smart to have different options so you can balance out and also enjoy living in Washington DC and enjoy learning what you need to learn.
Yeah, I will say that one of our very smart students from Greece, what he did is he got Fulbright, a local Greek scholarship, and the public service scholarship for SAIS, and was a student worker on campus. And he basically didn't have to pay anything out of pocket.
Wow.
He was very smart and started preparing very early and getting all of his ducks in a row. But he's like, that's the success story to me. So it just requires some forward thinking, creativity. Fulbright, for example, has its own application deadlines you're going to want to be aware of. So those are some things to keep in mind.
Yeah. Alexis asks, do we apply to a specific campus or do we apply to the organization and then we apply to a campus? Are there 3 different selections for every campus?
So when you apply, we have one application form, but it changes based on some questions you answer. So it's going to ask you first what campus you're applying to, and then what program you're applying to. So depending what campus you choose, it's going to allow you to apply for different programs based on that. Now, for our 2-year Masters of International Relations and our Master of Arts of International Affairs, which are programs that can be split over different campuses, you're going to get a question like your first choice campus and your second choice campus. And you don't have to put a second choice campus if you only want to do the program if you can go to Bologna, or you only want to do the program if you can come to DC. But that's how it works. Now, if you want to apply to different programs during the same application cycle, we might allow it depending on your reasoning for why. We don't want you to just be applying to any program to see which one you get into, but we can be a little bit more flexible with that. No problem.
¿Alguien más? Anyone else? Okay, so if anyone thinks about something else, because if you're like me, you're probably going to be trying to fall asleep and then think of a question. There's an email you can reach out to. It's ais.admissions@jihu.edu. And you can also come back to this webinar, to this recording that's going to be on our YouTube, and you can also reach out to us and we would be more than happy to help. That being said, everyone, keep dry. Thank you so much, Ludovica, for your time. And thank you so much, everyone, for being here tonight. Very exciting to see all of you. And it will be very exciting to see all of you getting prepared for a great career at SAIS at Johns Hopkins. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Sophia. Thank you all for joining. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Good night.